Holy crap! I've been making these videos for a whole year! Man, where does the time go? First of all, I want to thank everyone who has liked, commented, shared, or subscribed to my channel. It's your responses that keep me going.
And this past year, I've done all sorts of videos. I've reviewed film, TV, apps, I've done a vlog series for the end of one of my favorite shows, looked at tropes, and even started a Let's Play channel.
And what was that first video again? Hello, I'm Eternally Optimistic, and welcome to my first show. Wow, I had a lot to learn. Still do, and I'm still not sure why I decided to start with Disney princesses.
Maybe because I grew up on Disney Renaissance films, so it was easy for me to talk about. I love Disney, you love Disney, we all love Disney. Even if we don't always love the way they market their movies, and especially their leading ladies. Why always princesses, and why always the same body type and the same face and the same big sparkly dress? The Nostalgia Critic brought up a lot of good points about the Disney Princess franchise in his video, but I think there's another problem. Not all of Disney's leading ladies have been princesses, and the ones who aren't royalty are way more varied than the ones who are, in both looks and personality. And yet they're consistently overshadowed in the marketing just to keep the Disney princess name. Instead of every girl can be a princess, how about every girl can be whoever she wants to be in whatever circumstance she might find herself?
And the sad thing is, Disney has done that. They just don't advertise it quite as much. So, as a tribute to the characters who consistently get overlooked, here are...
I wanna be like other girls. I wanna see what other girls see. Just to be free like other
my top
girls.
6 favorite Disney ladies.
Get to me now.
Number 6.
Na, na, na.
Sergeant Calhoun from WreckIt Ralph. I was too nice to WreckIt Ralph in my review. It is not a perfect movie, but it is a good one with a solid script and well-crafted characters. Ahem. Calhoun is clearly meant to be the strong, progressive, feminist character, being the lead in a first-person shooter, holding a position of authority over men, and not conforming to traditional gender stereotypes. But if you're not careful exploring this kind of character, you could fall into just another pigeonhole, the muscular she-male whose masculine traits overcome her identity as a woman. And what's worse, she's also playing a drill sergeant nasty and the hero with a dark and tragic backstory. She could easily have been a trope fest. So why do I find her so compelling? Well, WreckIt Ralph plays a lot with the idea of characters acting out a role instead of being able to explore who they'd like to be. Calhoun is literally playing a drill sergeant nasty. It's all very genre conscious, especially her backstory, which is over the top to the point of hilarity. But there's an added layer of depth when you consider that her backstory isn't real. She was never engaged to a man who never existed. And she knows her backstory isn't real, but it affects her as if it was. You can feel the bitterness and frustration from a fake history she can't escape. But at the same time, she's not a hardened anti-hero who's completely given up on the world. My favorite moment of her characterization, and I know I am not alone in this, is the moment in the nest quicksand when Felix realizes the two of them can escape if Calhoun punches him repeatedly in the face. It makes sense in context.
That's not funny enough. Harder.
Look, you're a nice guy. I can't...
No!
It's a small moment, but it speaks volumes about her character. She may be guarded and trigger-happy, but she doesn't turn immediately to violence if she can help it. She may keep people at arm's length, but won't turn her back on even one innocent life. Now, yeah, the Nesquik scene is kind of enforcing the whole uncomfortable double standard of violence in the media. It's not a perfect movie, but it is genre-savvy from start to finish. And speaking of Felix, it was nice to see a more unconventional romance from Disney, with a relationship that flips gender roles. She's the brawn and he's the heart, but refreshingly the movie never calls it out. They just are who they are and pretty cute to watch together. And maybe it wasn't the most groundbreaking, but it had some great variety in character design and personality, and played with gender expectations in lots of neat little fun ways.
You ready, rookie? Let's find out.
Number 5. Jessica Rabbit from Who Framed Roger Rabbit. This film is a classic, lauded for its impressive integration of 2D animation with live action. The story itself is pretty simple, predictable even, and definitely a tongue-in-cheek look at film noir detective tropes. But cast in the role of the femme fatale is the unfairly dismissed Jessica Rabbit. The first thing everyone seems to remember about her is that she's meant to be a sex appeal character, and that is kind of the point. Not her actually being a sex icon, but the fact that she was meant to be one. Jessica Rabbit was drawn by men for men. It's no coincidence that her introduction has her performing to a crowd of catcalls. But she's meant to draw attention to the characters whose sole purpose is to appeal to the male viewer. Even though over the course of the film she proves herself a quite capable, kind-hearted woman and a devoted wife, all anyone ever notices is her body.
You don't know how hard it is being a woman looking the way I do.
It's why she married Roger, because he's the only one who doesn't treat her or look at her like a sex object. He loves her for who she is. She was designed to subvert the system, but in a sad bit of irony, all she's really done is upheld it. She isn't remembered for the various ways she moves the plot along or assists our leading man. She's remembered primarily for her looks. Discussions of Jessica Rabbit almost always hinge around the ridiculous Barbie doll physique and that one scene that needed to be edited. And her character, her personality, and just how much she does in the film is left by the wayside. Thankfully, the film continues to withstand the test of time, and as new audiences discover it, there's more and more appreciating Jessica for who she is and not simply what she looks like. Jessica Rabbit, more than just a pretty face.
I just saved your life and you still don't trust me?
Number 4. Audrey from Atlantis, The Lost Empire.
Atlantis has never really been one of my favorite Disney movies. But that's probably more a fault of mine than the actual film, because the film itself actually has a lot going for it.
It has distinct visuals, impressive effects, and cinematography, and a large and varied cast that passes the silhouette test with flying colors. Ahem. And even though the story didn't really move me, the characters certainly did. There's a great scene where they all sit around after making camp and all tell their backstories. Audrey tells Milo that her father wanted sons through which to live vicariously some pretty masculine dreams, one to be a mechanic and one to be a wrestler. But instead of defying her father, Audrey proves that a daughter is just as capable as any son would have been.
So, what happened to your sister?
She's 24, I know, with a shot at the title next month.
Now, the second act of the film is a little rushed, which means that most of these characters don't really get a satisfying arc, but they pretty much all end up the way we hoped they would. Also, the women in this movie don't look like your average standard Disney women, and that's really nice.
Tooth for flinching.
Number 3. Captain Amelia from Treasure Planet. Amelia is impressive right from her entrance. She is a capable leader with no patience for incompetence, but like Calhoun, not without compassion. She'll fight for what she believes in with everything she's got and won't give in even when all the cards are stacked against her. She's voiced by the great Emma Thompson, who brings a warmth, a fierceness, and just a little lovable insanity to the character. Also, Amelia's love interest is voiced by the wonderful David Hyde Pierce, and to hear these two in a scene together is just absolutely delightful.
Did you actually aim for that?
You know, actually, I did.
And yes, this would be a romance between a cat woman and a dog man, and I find that funny and strangely cute. I like some really weird animated couples, don't I?
Captain, I assure you,
Let me make this as monosyllabic as possible. I don't much care for this crew you hired. They're... how did I describe them? I don't know. I said something rather good this morning before coffee.
A ludicrous parcel of driveling galoots, ma'am.
There you go. Poetry.
Number 2. Esmeralda from the Hunchback of Notre Dame. Esmeralda's beauty is matched only by her kindness. At every turn she displays a deep compassion for those less fortunate than her, even when she barely has anything to her name to begin with. She fights to erase prejudice against her people and give a voice to the voiceless. The scene where she stands up to Frollo still gives me chills. She looks beyond appearances to see the heart of everyone she meets and refuses to stay silent in the face of injustice. Kind, brave, clever, and beautiful, Esmeralda reminds us all how important it is to fight for what's right.
You miss treat this poor boy the same way you mistreat my people. You speak of justice, yet you are cruel to those most in need of your help.
Silence!
Justice!
Get to me.
Number 1.
Not all Disney princesses start out as royalty. Some have very humble beginnings, but all of them, well, most of them, end up as royalty by the end of their movie. But strong female characters can come from anywhere, and they don't necessarily need to rise above their circumstances to prove just how strong they can be.
Why didn't you wait at the school? You were supposed to wait there. Lilo! Do you not understand? Do you want to be taken away?
This poor young woman just can't catch a break. Her parents died in a tragic car crash, leaving her as the legal guardian to her younger sister, who is different. Nani loves Lilo and does her best to provide for her, but more often than not, her best just isn't good enough. But it's not just a matter of caring for her little sister. Her sister is all she has left in the world.
It seems clear to me that you need her a lot more than she needs you.
Though Nani would seem to be the provider, it's more likely Lilo's wild imagination and youthful spark that holds Nani together. It's also worth noting that Nani gets one of the best love interests in Disney history. He's not a handsome prince she sees from a distance and instantly falls in love with. He's an old friend who's kind and funny and supportive, and most importantly great with her sister. Now, yes, I'm probably biased towards Nani because I have a younger sister of my own, and I cannot imagine how it would have felt had we found ourselves in a situation like this. Beyond the simple fact that I would not have wanted my sister taken away from me under any circumstance. I've sung my praises for this film before and will probably continue to do so. It is a beautiful movie with characters you can feel very deeply for because, well, they feel very deeply about each other. And if you ever find yourself in a hopeless situation, just remember that even Nani eventually caught a break.
What about Ohana?
He hasn't been here that long.
Neither have I. Dad said Ohana means family.
Huh?
Ohana means family. Family means
Nobody gets left behind.
Or
forgotten.
There are way more Disney ladies than there are Disney princesses, so this was a tough list to narrow down. If your favorite Disney heroine wasn't on this list, please feel free to tell me who she is and why you love her so much. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, I'm eternally optimistic, and I'll catch you guys next time.
To wear my old jeans, to eat a whole cake, feel the sun on my feet, be quiet, be crazy, be anything I want to be, dance around in my underwear, to walk by myself, do nothing all day, to eat a whole cake, be cranky with frosting, no cameras, no pressure.